Welcome back to the JN Show. This is where we talk about all things real estate because we believe whether you're a current homeowner, someone on your buying or selling journey, or an investor in real estate, you deserve all the tools and information to make a sound, informative decision on one of the biggest assets of your lifetime. I'm Jeff Nethercott, your host, and I want to say thank you for joining me. Today, we've got a special episode in store. You're not going to be listening from me, but in honor of National Women's Day coming up on March 8th, Rochelle from our real estate team has stepped forward to put a great panel together. So we've got Rochelle from the JM Real Estate team, we've got Trish from Beyond the Eye Staging, and we've got Dana from Indie Mortgages to share a wealth of information when it comes to real estate. So whether you're a first-time buyer, a seasoned homeowner, you'll gain some valuable insight and practical tips to make your real estate journey and home ownership a little bit smoother. So get ready for an honest and informative discussion around the realities of real estate. Congrats, Rochelle. Our team is proud of you. Thanks for stepping up today. And in celebration of all the women out there, this day is about you. So go ahead, have a listen. And if you like what you hear, make sure to share it with a friend.
Hi, I'm Rochelle Sorzano. I'm a realtor with Royal LePage Triland and the JN Real Estate team. Today, I'm joined with two amazing business owners, and I'm going to introduce you to them and let you learn a little bit about what they do. So the first person I'm speaking to is Trish.
Hi, I'm Trish Mohring. My business is Beyond the Eye. I do home staging.
Hi everyone, my name's Dana and I'm a mortgage agent with Indie Mortgage Companies.
Perfect. So today we're going to talk a little bit about real estate and the different aspects of our career and how we help our clients. So for me as a realtor, a lot of people, when they are going through a transaction, they really don't know a lot about who's involved in the transaction, whether they are potentially buying or potentially selling a home. So one of the big things I often talk to people about is, what do you do on an average day? So as a stager, Trish, tell us a little bit about what you do on the average day that may help clients.
So really depends. I'll go in, I'll do a consultation, or I will prepare for a job that's coming up, go to the warehouse, get all the decor ready, anything that needs to go into the house. Or it's mainly just preparing, doing, and then when the house sells, going in and picking everything up.
So what does a consult look like? What is a consult? Maybe that's a better.
Yes, consultation is where I go through the house with the homeowners and then I walk them through each room and suggest things they should remove or move around. Pretty much just getting the house ready to look its best.
Right. And Dana, for yourself, when you're helping maybe a seller, what does that look like?
So typically with sellers, I always refer them over to the realtor so that they can have a thorough assessment. And like Trish said, just a recommendation on the things they need to adjust, the things they need to fix to improve the chances of getting the house sold on time and obviously for the best price possible.
Wonderful. So I remember when I was selling my home, one of the big things I was shocked by is how much paperwork you need. So as a mortgage specialist, what are some of the items that a good client needs to help get them prepared for this process?
So, I mean, it's the bane of our existence. And honestly, the paperwork is really just to verify everything and ensure that the process goes smoothly. And the sooner you're able to get the documentation in, the smoother the process and the experience is for everyone. So typically, when you're coming in for a mortgage pre-approval, we need the essentials. Obviously, we need the ID verification, your letters of employment, your pay stubs. That's for traditional employment. If you're self-employed, we'll need your tax returns, and once you have that offer on that property, we'll need that purchase and sale agreement as well as your MLS listings. Those are the basic documentations. And as the process goes along, if other things are required, such as an appraisal, they'll be requested later on. And then towards the end, we'll require proof of your down payment.
Lovely. Yes, that's quite a bit, which is great. I think, the process of selling or purchasing our home is not immediate and it takes quite a lot of steps. One of the things I think a lot of our clients aren't aware of is that really from preparing to get your home ready all the way through the process of actually selling your home are really many different things and many different steps and lots of different people involved. As your realtor, I'm kind of hopefully the person to help make sure that I'm helping coordinate, guide you through this process, remind you of who you maybe need to connect with at different various points throughout a transaction. And I think a lot of times when we talk about getting prepared to list your home or show the best version of your home, it requires continuous contact, but not only between the realtor and the client, but the realtor and the stager, the realtor and the mortgage specialist. Sometimes we talk to insurance. There's a lot of different people that can be involved in a transaction, and I think that's a really important thing for you to know as a potential seller or buyer. It's really a coordinated effort to help to make sure that your home gets the best value that it can. So when we talk about also like real estate being continuous and engaged with a lot of different people, when you are working, for example, as a stager and you go through a home and get it all ready, what are some of the things that you hear people say that they were surprised by?
Usually I look good. It looks after. Yeah. But, it just there's a lot of work that goes into getting a house ready. And as always, I don't think they realize you got to look at it as a buyer's perspective, for sure. Seeing all the little flaws, all the little things. So you want it to see it in its best light. So I think a lot of people are shocked with how much actually there is in getting your home ready. And for most people, you want to have the most time available to get it ready because there is so much to do most times.
Absolutely. Like I think one of the biggest shocks, at least feedback that we hear is, I'm thinking of selling my home in 2 months, but by 2 months, there's a lot of things to do in 2 months. So quickly. So, I mean, sometimes we even suggest if you're planning to sell in the summer, talk to us as early as January and February, which seems so far away, but there's so many different things, especially getting your home prepared.
Yeah.
The one I always love is declutter, which seems like it's an obvious thing, but nobody realizes how much things they have until they have to get their house looking pretty. So, I mean, I'm sure that's probably one of the conversations you have a lot.
Yeah, I usually say take a day per room.
Nice.
So if you've only got evenings, just go into one room that evening and work on that. And that kind of will take away some stress because when you look at the whole house overall, depending on how big it is, that can be massive. So just to calm yourself, you just take the evening and I'm going to work on the kitchen tonight,
Yeah.
and go from there.
Yeah. And I think some people have lived in their homes for 30 years. So that's 30 years of things. Whether or not you realize it, it's just acquired. The smallest thing is still space, right? So I definitely understand that it might be a continuous process for a lot of our clients. And Dana, when you're talking about as well for your clients, one of the things that I find really interesting that is something that shocks them is appraisals. Can you tell us a little bit about their appraisal process?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, going back to the issue of time, it's very important that we're giving ourselves enough time between that condition of finance as well as the closing date. Because if the lender requires an appraisal, that I have to request that appraisal, set the date, the appraiser has to go out, schedule the appraisal, they go in, they prepare the report. So that's an additional 2 days in the process that's sometimes not accounted for. So that's very important. Some issues or things to look out for in appraisals or when you're buying the home initially to avoid that are any water damage, any signs of mold, any cracks in the basement foundations, things like that. Those are huge red flags for the lenders, and those can delay the closing process. Sometimes lenders will require that those are remediated before they proceed with closing the sale.
Totally. So one of the things I'm always surprised about is that we use terms and people don't realize that we're using terms that they don't know. So this one should be obvious, but at the same time, it's important for a lot of people. It's the first time purchasing a home. So what is a lender? Tell me what a lender is and what do they do?
Okay, so lenders, we've got 3 categories. We've got the A lenders, B lenders, and C lenders. A lenders, those are our traditional big banks, or 5 big banks or big lenders. Those we have access to those on the broker channel. And then the B lenders, these are lenders who work mostly with clients who have a little bit of a credit challenge sometimes or a unique employment situation. So those are lenders who are available for sometimes if you're self-employed and you're not declaring your income in a particular way, then you might need to go to a B lender for a year. And then we have private lenders as well.
And those are people who are basically lending you the money to purchase the home, and they're assessing kind of your ability to pay back that money. A real like, are you able to give them their money back? Yes, absolutely. And so one for both of you, and I'll say it for myself as in the real estate world, when it comes to clients, what are some mistakes you think, or this could have been done easier that would really help a potential client? I'll start with you, Trish.
I would say just giving yourself enough time. Yeah. Because when it's so, you've got a big house and you want to put it on the market a week later, you're just not going to get the same work done in that time without being so stressed.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, it is a hard process, even for the most prepared people. So if you're adding layers on top of it for yourself and you don't have to, I definitely understand that time is one of those big things that you try to give yourself as a client.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I agree. Like, time is definitely a big one. Like, giving yourself enough time between listing the home and closing the home. Let's say, for example, you're moving from one home to another. You want to ensure that this home closes or there's bridge financing in place. So timing is really big. Documentation is also a big one too. You want to ensure that you've gathered all the required documentation and you've submitted them in a timely manner so that they're verified and they're reviewed. Another thing I'd say with challenge that clients have is they need to ensure they're reaching out to their realtors or brokers and communicating. If anything changes in your situation, employment, down payment, you need to ensure that you're communicating effectively with your helping professional.
Absolutely. That was, you stole mine. Communication and time, the two big ones, right? Yeah, it is, I think, a lot of times, it goes both ways, though. As a good realtor is able to help you understand that there's a lot of different information sources and different people you can connect with. And yes, our role is to help guide you through that process. But if you're not sure of something, always ask. There's no dumb question. I know people say that, but there is no dumb question when it comes to this world. It is the biggest purchase you're most likely going to make, so it's worth it to ask. And then I think the other big thing about communication is understanding that there are a lot of people talking hopefully in your best interest. And that's important as a potential buyer or seller as well. So I'm going to give Trish a hard question, only because I want to know the answer. Gray. So there was a lot of gray that happened to some of us.
Yeah.
Some of our homes. And you do see some millennials. You don't have to tell me. And truthfully, I wouldn't change a thing in the sense like I would have still bought that same home. But when people are talking about trying to modernize their home or maybe even make their home look more attractive, what are some of the things you do to kind of help make a home look really appealing to maybe a more modern purchaser?
I always do a color. It's kind of like a gray and a beige together. That's a softer color that works with older houses and newer houses because it gives you a warm, cozy feeling.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where if anybody asks me, I always tell them the same color because it's just tried and true. It just morphs, but it feels super warm and cozy.
Nice. Is that for the walls or for both?
And then as far as decor, I really let the house kind of tell me for sure what it should be like. So I have a wide array of decor that kind of fits. It's all new stuff, but it just, I can put something with somebody else's items and just make it feel current and still okay.
And I can attribute to that. So I've seen you do a century home. I've seen a 1960s home, a modern home with similar decor, but really different ways that highlights the main features of the home. And I think that's why a strong stager and interior designer is really able to help and is really worth it. I think we see this shift now where everybody's like, oh, I could just do everything online, but there's skills that are required for every profession, right? And it's important to have someone who is, in our team, we really value Trish, and we always do a consultation for our clients who are willing to really showcase their home in that way. And I have not seen anybody say, oh no. They're always like, I can't believe this. This is my house, right? Yeah, for sure. All right. What's my hard question for Dana? So, do you guys have a hard question for me? I guess I haven't thought of that. Oh, your time. You could get. Come on, I just asked and making you putting you on the spot. You can put me on the spot. I know.
The question I get from my clients all the time, and I have to refer them back to the realtors, is what does it look like when there are multiple offers on the table?
Yeah. So it's funny because I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago, that was probably very common. Lots, multiple offers on a property. That being said, in the last year, a couple of our properties have had multiple offers. What that means is that there are more than one potential buyer for a home, and that home now is being offered at a certain price, a listing price, but the listing price is not always the purchase price. So, in a situation where there's more than one person interested, often that means that there are more than one people or more than one party offering different prices and different features to that seller. A really great realtor talks to not only their clients, but also the family or the realtor that is listing that property to learn a little bit about what else is important to that seller. Money isn't the only motivator for sellers. And a lot of times we will see that closing date is a huge one. A firm offer, so, no conditions. Not that we necessarily recommend that, but sometimes that is offered on a brand new home that is perfect. That happens. And there are, and I remember it's funny because there was a period of time where people were becoming really creative in the multiple offer situation, giving letters about themselves. Like, it may sound a little bit corny or cheesy, but people do want to know, especially if they live in that home for over 30 years, who's the next potential family or person and living there. And people understand, like, I've met some really interesting sellers who said, you know what, like, top price isn't our goal. Our goal is that we know that they're not going to rip every part of this house apart to make it not like it was. And then we have some people who are like, you know what, I couldn't care less. I want to get the best bang for your buck. So when it comes to multiple offers, it's important to understand that you are competing and that there are more than one ways to compete in an offer situation. Hope that makes sense. Really. So when it comes to, I think, business in general, because technically we are self-employed people, right? We are self-employed. And when you're a self-employed person, it is a different space, right? A lot of times, I come from a background of healthcare that you had very structured daily check-in times and people who are looking to kind of see what you're doing. But when you're self-employed, it's a very different world. So what I want to know is, what do you do as a business owner to make sure that your business is successful?
Really, really fortunate in that I've had word of mouth referrals. So my business has just grown organically, and I'm super grateful for that. Like I just have a Facebook business page, and I just kind of post on that. I always share the realtors listings that I'm staging. Gives us both exposure, and also I've kind of started doing that on Instagram and also as much as I can, but. Yeah,
And you are very engaged too. Like, so if we ask you, like, hey, Trish, there's this coming up, you really are responsive, which I think cannot be valued, because it is really important to work with someone who will engage with you, right?
yeah, I even just always make sure that I'm available for everybody, like all clients. You can message me whenever, and I'm pretty responsive just because I don't feel there's any reason not to respond to.
I mean, don't message her at 1 a.m. with any crazy. It's like, this is a nice color. I mean, it just happened, but I'm just not regarding it. Yeah. No, but you're right? So one of those big things is the power of a referral. Like, yes, RT, the general estate team, we talk a lot about really making sure our clients know who we are, and that we're never too busy for a referral is a big part of our business strategy, and making sure that we try to connect not only referral to us, but to refer to other people. I think this is definitely an industry where it's a relationship building, and if you're not, then it has huge impact for sure.
I would say for me as a mortgage agent, like, I try to block time off for some nights just because the time can really get away from you. Right, you're on the phone, you're talking to the lenders, you're dealing with realtors. So there are so many different pieces that need to be in place, and you're putting in the 10 hours per day sometimes, right? I'll take a break, make dinner, then I'm back on the phone. Like, most of my clients, I'm talking to them like after work. So it's like 6 p.m., 7, 8, 9 p.m. because that's when the clients are available to do their pre-approval, etc. So I still try to structure my day with meeting my partners, talking with my clients, but it can be challenging at times, but very rewarding.
For sure. And I think there is a lot of truth that's also in owning your own business, that it's not a clear-cut day. That, it would be nice if it was, but it's not. You are there to help support someone. So if you're helping support someone, if they, have a break after they put down their kids, then that's when you're talking to them. I've shown homes really early in the morning and really late at night. That's a part of the industry, but it's a nice part of the industry because it also allows you to also retail and meet more people and accommodate your clients in a way that maybe other industries don't. So I always think that's really great. The other thing I think from a real estate perspective, and what I like about our team, is we talk a lot as a team. Understanding who you surround yourself with and also making sure that everyone's advocating for the same goals as you really makes a huge difference. And I've really seen, there's a lot of realtors. I've seen a lot of realtors, and not everybody's the same, and every team is the same. And you can always see that dynamic of people supporting one another and making sure they have similar goals, and also making sure that they understand the relationships that are important to really kind of help advocate for themselves, because you are a business owner, but also for your clients as well, for sure. Yeah. So we were talking a little bit about our lives, and it's not a traditional day. And we know that for a lot of women specifically who are mothers, there's multiple things that you're trying to juggle as a parent. So for you, what do you think is one of the biggest things that's really helped you be a professional and a parent in this field?
Like we spoke about earlier before, the flexibility is absolutely important. So just be flexible with your time in getting breakfast done, doing school drop-offs, doing pickups from school, extracurricular activities. And it's also a great opportunity to network with your other parents and word of mouth for your business too, and always keeping that in mind. So it poses its challenges, but like I said, being flexible, working around your kids' schedule or your family's schedule, you'll be able to get a lot done, and just ensuring that you're time blocking and sticking to that schedule.
Yeah. For me, it's been building my business, and my mom has actually been my biggest supporter just because I'm a single mom. And so she has been there for me the whole step of the way, just coming when I can't be there to take my daughter, pick her up if she needs to be picked up, anything. So she's been probably my biggest help throughout.
But I like that you mentioned that your mom is one of your biggest advocates and supporters, and then you are also a mom. So these are really important things, I think. I also it's a full village in my world. Like, I need everybody all the time. And I have a 2-year-old, and 2-year-olds are 2-year-olds. They're great. It's really, different. And like, it's nice also when you work in a family-oriented group. I came in this morning, I was saying, oh, drop-off was hard. Like, it was not an easy drop-off this morning. But having people understand that, and also really understand that they value that relationship at home as well as your professional relationship really is important. I think one of the things that maybe dissuade people a lot from owning their own business is this fear of having to give up everything. Because honestly, that's what I thought at the beginning. I thought, oh my goodness, you're never, ever, ever going to see your kid. But that's not the case. You learn how to find people who support your goals and also people who support you. And that's usually family, but there's lots of really great people as well that can really help that, for sure. And the other thing I often find really interesting, especially with women in business, is that they have a little bit more experience helping others who maybe don't realize that there's other challenges in your life. I think when you're naturally helping, whether it's a child or someone else, you start seeing you have me. Maybe this is something you do today. So there are skills that you develop as a mom that also are really transferable into any business. And I find sometimes people are don't bring up the mom card, but that's not true. It's a really important part of most people's businesses that should be valued rather than dismissed, for sure.
I agree. Especially one of my, I guess, niches, I love working with single moms. They work so hard, they've got their villages, and they have, sometimes there's the opportunity to add additional income too, right? So sometimes if the mom's divorced or separated, there's ex-spousal support, there's ex-CCB, there's that child support. I've helped moms to get into their homes using a good chunk of that to get into their homes. So, I'm amazed at how hardworking and resourceful women can be. And not only that, but some of our partners, our realtor partners, go into an open house, and they're very flexible, very understanding and accommodating. So I think
Yeah, we do a good job. Bring your little person. They probably are going to live here. So it's a good idea for them to see. One of the favorite things I always see is like kids coming through and like, oh, this is my bedroom. It's like, tell your parents. It's true. This is definitely their house. So I agree. Like, it's amazing. I remember, so I bought my first house when I was single, and because I bought a dog, which is kind of crazy, but I did. I was like, oh no, now I need a backyard. And it was such a interesting shift in my perspective of what can be done on your own, because I think you definitely have a picture and there's nothing wrong with that picture. There's a lot of great aspects to that picture, but there are other people who can help support you achieve things if that's something that you really want to prioritize. And it's kind of nice. I mean, the shift specifically for women in the last probably 10 years to owning their own home or their own business has been really significant. And I mean, even within my friend circles and a lot of people I know, it's amazing how much they have accomplished in 10 years on their own, whether or not, it's intentional or not. It's an amazing experience. And it's pretty cool to see how many opportunities are presenting themselves for women themselves in the real estate world, for sure. Absolutely. So I have another thing. People always tell me they're going to be a stager. It's like, just like they always tell me they're going to be a realtor. So I totally understand. So no one tells me they're going to be a mortgage specialist. It tells me they're going to be a stager. So what do you think most people don't realize about this?
How much work there is.
Yeah, for sure.
What they see is the pretty after, or you going in and just placing things. But there's so much more that goes into it. Like, I have to spend a couple hours after I've seen the house. So when you go in, I take pictures of the house, and then I have to go to the warehouse, and I have to, if they need furniture, I have to go pick furniture. If they need decor, I have to go, and I'm literally just decorating in my head and figuring out what I need to do to prepare so that when I go there, it's super smooth and easy. But there's a lot of heavy lifting. There's a lot of it's not fun, and there's as they think, but right, it's just not. It's a hard job to do. Some jobs are easy, yes, but the majority of the time there's a lot of work that goes into it.
And I remember, like, I knew it in my head, but when I was with you, I think you were talking about your warehouse. Yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, often you need multiple, like so much of everything, because there's multiple houses usually that are staged, you have multiple clients. So even if, you love that aspect of working hard, you still need the resources to have a full warehouse of things, right? That are in good condition, right? That's the other thing, right?
Yeah, and that's the risk too. Putting stuff out of somebody's house is something gets damaged or whatever. It's just part of it, Yeah. You can be in the business of just doing vacant houses, but I prefer to do everything because, just because you have people there and something might get broken.
Yeah.
That could happen when nobody's there too.
For sure.
So it's just not as fun as everyone thinks. It's a great business. I absolutely love it, and I'm super happy that I've been able to do. But it is very hard.
For sure.
Very work.
Yeah. And I think when we talk also about real estate and about finances, it's probably one of the touchier subjects that you probably, I find a lot of people are like, yeah, I want to buy a house. And then you start asking questions. They're like, oh, I have to tell you how much I rate. I have to know about it. You need to know about my investments. So is that something that how do you kind of broach that experience of people being really restricted when it comes to kind of learning what to share, I guess?
I love that question. I mean, I think by the time the clients get to me, they've already come to terms that, okay, I'm going to be disposing in my financial situation, right? And obviously they know that is something they need to get into a home. However, I think one of the important things for us as mortgage agents or brokers is to ensure we're managing the client's expectations, because they'll come in and like, oh, I saw this beautiful home, it's my dream home, and it's $700,000. So when we go into the pre-qualification or the pre-approval and we're seeing what the income's like, what the credit's like, the amount they have for the down payment, that might not necessarily translate to a $700,000 home. You might be sitting at $400,000. So then we have to have that hard conversation of, say, okay, what is the plan? What are we wanting to accomplish in the future? And sometimes just talk them down. So that's another thing. And like you said, just being finances is something that's personal and private. So people are not ready or willing to disclose that information. However, it's important to be honest and transparent, because we would want a situation where you're not, which is why documentation is so important. And to always go back to documentation. So you cannot be pre-approved without us verifying the information we have on paper, because if there are any discrepancies, that could be the difference between your moving into your home and you're not moving to your home, like, which is that's an absolute reality. So it's our job as mortgage agents to go through the documentation, full disclosure. Do you have, do you have TFSAs? What are your investments looking like? And it's also a great opportunity for us to assess what you have and see if there are any other areas or opportunities to increase or gross up like some sort of income to increase your affordability and get you into the home that you like.
Absolutely. I think in every career, there's definitely things that people don't realize that are a hard aspect of that job. One of the things that surprised me when I was first kind of getting into real estate was the risk that is associated with being a realtor and going out on your own sometimes without really I'm a pretty yeah, I'll do this, had a purse. And then, I have really thought a lot about safety and a lot about making sure that I'm connecting with someone and letting them know where I'm going. Calendars and all of those things are really important, I think, in real estate. And I think clients sometimes may be like, I've actually had people be like, I'm not giving you my information. Then we're not going anywhere. It's not that crazy. And even on open houses, we've had people come in and they think, it's almost like they feel entitled. And this is someone's home. You're walking through someone's home, and I'm sure you're not going to steal everything. But in the off chance that you do, I don't want to have to be to my seller like, I don't know who this person was. They came in, ran through and ran out. Like, I'm sure there's situations you can't always control. But I think one of the things that is surprising a lot harder than people realize is the risks that can be associated with a career. That can be very glamorous looking, I think, for a lot of people at times. And yeah, I mean, another thing for me that I always, try to talk to people about when it comes to real estate is the impression of what a realtor or a mortgage specialist is or a stager is. People have these ideas, usually from some kind of reality TV that exists somewhere. Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah. I remember someone saying to me like, oh, well, now that you're a realtor, you have to have your nails done all the time. I was like, oh my gosh, do I? I kind of just terror, like, oh my gosh, do I actually do that? Like, I can barely get my hair up in a ponytail. Like, how am I going to do this? Right. So I think there's things that are real challenges of a job, and then there are perceived challenges, and it's important to be genuine, to be honest. And I think that goes both ways. And a lot of times clients will see that you're a genuine person and help. And so will the people that you're trying to negotiate with. Right. Like, that's important, too. That has a huge impact. Sometimes you are the person that's representing the best interests of that person. And if you're not doing it in a way that's advocating for your clients and really advocating for yourself, can be really, really challenging for sure. Yeah. Thank you so much. I had such a great time talking to both Dana and Trish about their careers in real estate. Trish is an amazing, amazing stager, and her work, it really has such an impact on not only our business as a realtor, but more importantly for the clients. I think a lot of people can attest that, staging their home has had a huge impact on the value of their home, and really being able to reach out to people that maybe weren't, thinking of that home before. So thank you so much, Trish. Is there any thoughts that you have about what you do or about real estate that you'd like to share? Not really. I think we covered it. We went through real estate. I think one of the things they often talk to people about is, they want to know what's different about your personal skills versus somebody online. So if you were to tell somebody about what you do, how would you do that for them?
Basically, I'm gonna for that way. I'm gonna help you get your house looking its best, so that you're gonna catch more people's attention, and I want you to sell for the most money so that you can leave with a happy investment.
Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you so much, Trish. And Dana, mortgages, finances are important in any form of transaction. So tell us a little bit about kind of what you do for our clients and how they can get a hold of you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So like I said, or like we discussed earlier, ensure you're reaching out to your mortgage agent in a timely manner, not 2 weeks or 3 weeks before your closing. Ensure you're reaching out at least 3 months before so that you're getting prepared, you're gathering all the documents, there's sufficient time to verify all the information, and you're not feeling rushed throughout the process, which is very, very important. So if you're thinking of purchasing a home in anytime in the future, reach out today and we can come out with a plan, and I'll be happy to help you guys.
Thanks, Dana. And I'm Rochelle Sorzano with the Jan Real Estate team. I really have had the opportunity to work with a lot of amazing people. And one of the strongest things about myself and our team is that we make sure that we support our clients and provide them with the right skills and the right teams to support their transactions. So if you ever have any questions, feel free to reach out. I think. Bye.